Welcome, ladies, to our June edition of NAMB's Inspire a Women's Mentoring Group. And this month, we have a very special guest that is going to be speaking to us about the power of discipline. Right? So important. So without any further ado, we're going to kick it off so that way we can give Kristy plenty of time to give her presentation and we can open it up for questions and have a great dialogue after she finishes. So allow me to introduce the amazing Kristy Dickey. She has been a 25-year veteran in the wholesale line of business, having held a variety of leadership roles. She spent the last 10 years leading the Southeast team that is driving growth in the wholesale channel for Citizens, formerly known as Franklin American Mortgage. She's part of the core leadership team charged with building one of the largest bank-owned wholesalers in the country. Kristy is passionate about coaching her team to reach their fullest potential. And outside of the industry, Kristy is passionate about leading mission trips, has a love for the outdoors, SEC football, and enjoys spending weekends with her family at the lake. Welcome, Kristy.
Laura, Linda, Brandy, thank you so much for having me today. What an honor it is to be surrounded with women in this industry. I certainly welcome the opportunity to leave enough time at the end of the call for it to be impactful. I am experiencing some technology challenges, so please bear with me as we work through those today. So hopefully you guys can see my screen. All right. Again, I thought this was a powerful subject for us to talk about because discipline brings stability and structure into a person's life. It teaches us to be responsible and it teaches us to be respectful. And the observance of well-defined rules is really the basis for society. And I believe a critical component of success in our career. So over the next 15 minutes, we will look at why discipline matters. We'll look at how confidence contributes to results. We'll look at the return on our investments that we make. We'll discuss some new habits and thinking patterns. And finally, review a few key daily disciplines we can implement in our business. So let's get started. All right. Now, we often search for information that will lead to tips to make healthier lifestyle choices, forming effective habits, building a better mindset, and sharpening our communication skills. And most of this advice, if we follow it, will probably lead to positive changes within our lives, within ourselves and our lives. But, really, how sustainable will those changes be? The truth is there's one essential ingredient in the process of creating change that too often gets overlooked, and that's discipline. So why does discipline matter? Let's take a look. So studies show that people with discipline are happier. That should be enough for us to stop right there, right? But self-discipline is the bridge between goals defined and goals accomplished. Discipline also matters because it helps us to effectively lead not only ourselves and others. It all comes down to discipline. Discipline also instills confidence and it improves the ability to manage challenging emotions, something we all deal with daily in this industry. So discipline creates a positive attitude towards society, confidence, and a desire to do something great. Discipline helps people develop attitudes that are the key to success. I had the pleasure of meeting legendary boxer Sugar Ray Leonard. For those of you all that may not know who he is, you should check it out. I think probably most of us have heard of Sugar Ray Leonard. I met him over a decade ago, and some words from his speech have stayed with me. He said, confidence to jump into the ring with the most feared opponent came from knowing he had done the road work. He always told himself before he started a fight that he knew what to do, how to do it. He felt capable of doing it. He expected good results. And in advance, he accepted it would be okay if the results were not what he wanted. His confidence and high self-esteem increased his resilience in tough situations. What a great life lesson. And so, as you can see in the center of the screen, you have to know you can win, you have to think you can win, and you have to feel you can win. And again, what a great, great life lesson from Sugar Ray Leonard. So, you know, success is really a journey of countless baby steps. Right? And we give our attention, time, and energy to things with the expectation of a return on that investment. We have to be the creator of the energy that we need. And our energy comes from our purpose. So even sometimes with focus and the best of intentions and plans, we sometimes fall short. We have to forgive ourselves, and we have to move forward. And really the key is to keep going and get our head back in the game. Discipline is what leads to success. So about 20 years ago, I'll tell you a short story. I decided to give my attention, time, and energy with the expectation of a return. And that return was the audacious goal of running a full marathon. For those of you all that may not be runners, a full marathon is 26.2 miles. And for those of you all that have ever attempted it, I have a lot of respect for you. So here's my story. Crazy goal. Up until that time, I'd always been athletic, had always been involved in sports. But here I was, you know, a decade out of playing any sports. And I thought, you know, the most I've ever done is 6 miles. And there's a big difference between 6 and 26 miles, I'll tell you. So that being said, I employed the assistant of a running coach. And he looked me in the face and he said, Kristy, I'm telling you, if you will have the discipline to do everything I tell you to do with the road work, to use Sugar Ray Leonard's phrase, and with your nutrition, I promise you 6 months from now, we will be greeting you coming across that finish line. And I thought, you are crazy. They also were disciplined enough not to give us the training schedules beyond the first month, because if I'd seen 17 or 22 mile run that I had to do on that calendar when I'd never done anything over 6, there's no way I would have kept going, right? But I did. I worked for 6 months. I had the discipline to get out of bed when it was raining, to get out of bed and do runs when I knew I had to be downtown working at 8 a.m. I would get up at 3:30. I remember a day having to do 19 miles before work, and I was still downtown in an environment at 8 o'clock in the morning. And that simply is remarkable for me to reflect on. But the reality of it is, the ability to complete my goal came down to my willingness to be disciplined. So let's take a look at, in order to practice daily disciplines, we have to have a plan. And if you want to enhance productivity at work and improve the management of your to-dos, which I think we all do, we have to prioritize and we have to execute. So let's talk through how changing your mindset, being willing, organized, and resourceful can help. So let's talk about mindset first. Disciplined people are careful about the thoughts they allow to occupy their minds. Now that might seem like a simple task, but it's so powerful to control what you allow to occupy your mindset. The way you think will either destroy you or it will continue to evolve you. So we have to make the conscious choice to think only in terms of success, to think only in terms of, I'm going to complete that marathon. I'm going to make that phone call to a prospect. I'm going to take the time to network, which we'll talk about next. We also have to be willing. We have to be willing to listen. We have to be willing to learn. We have to be willing to work. We have to be willing to seek guidance. We have to be willing to change our mind. And we also have to be willing to change our ways. And most of us have been in this industry for a number of years, and changing our ways is sometimes a really hard thing to do. Now, we all know that we also need to be organized, and organization comes a lot easier to some than others. But one of the things that I have found that has helped create success in my own life is I am obsessed with managing my calendar. And it's really hard, yet it's powerful when we learn what we have to say no to and what we're willing to say yes to that will help us in our endeavors. We also have to keep notes. We have to make lists. We can use, thankfully, technology allows us to set reminders on our phones or our computers. That's something certainly we didn't have even 10 years ago. So think about how much more organized we can be today versus just a few short years ago. And we have to be willing to put that organized system into action every day. We also have to be willing to limit distractions. And I find that that is an increasingly common challenge for all of us. In addition to thinking about our mindset and having that mood of willingness, and even with the best intentions of being organized, sometimes part of our new habits and thinking patterns just needs to be, we need to be resourceful. We have to ask for guidance sometimes. We're not always great at doing that. We have to establish new patterns of behavior, and we have to be determined to figure out, hey, what problem is it that I really need to solve here? And then what disciplines do I need to have associated with that? So we all have a responsibility to be at the top of our game, and I commend you for being willing to invest in this session, in this mentoring group. It's amazing to be surrounded by positive, electric, contagious women. But again, we have a responsibility to be at the top of our game. And what I want to convey is what you do now matters more than what happened yesterday. Let me say that again. What you do now matters more than what you did yesterday. And what you do now is your choice. So let's talk about intentional activity and discuss 7 daily disciplines in this business that we might consider incorporating to keep our business flourishing. All right. So number 1, network and nurture. We all know that we need to take time to network. We know that we should be doing something with networking every day. Networking, so let's take a look at what that does for us. It helps us build a reputation. It can help promote business growth. I see Chelsea out there. Chelsea's done a great job of helping us understand what she does. It helps strengthen our support network, and it also inspires creative thinking. The second thing I encourage you to think about doing every day is to send 1 thank you note per day. How would your day, the start of your day, change if you were just simply willing to thank somebody in this business for something they did the previous day, right? We try to be better about it. We try to say thank you. We might send an email, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a handwritten note, but it can be a heartfelt, gratitude-filled thank you. And it really just has a way of allowing us to do that throughout the day. So number 3 is ask for referrals. You know what? We are really terrible at this business. There are so many wonderful people in this business, but we don't do a good job of asking for referrals. Regardless of what role you hold in the industry, I encourage you to just simply Google ways to ask for business referrals. There's a lot of information out there, and we need to be more intentional about asking for referrals in our business, and we need to do it every day, because every day we come across somebody that could refer clients to us, and whatever your role is. The 4th thing is we need to spend 20 minutes sharpening our skills. And so what does that really look like? We all know that we have a responsibility, to, like as I said, to be at the top of our game. And so maybe that's just simply reading an industry article. Maybe it's talking with a mentor. Maybe it's taken an online class, right? The MI companies in this industry do a phenomenal job of monthly training calendars. If you don't know how to access those, reach out to me after this and I'll help connect you with my network of folks in the MI industry that can help us sharpen our skills. Some of us might need to work on emotional intelligence. Our EQ sometimes is so important for us to continue to develop as this business evolves. Maybe one of those skills you want to work on is public speaking. Maybe you need to have the discipline to work on public speaking. Maybe it's to be more intentional to market yourself. Maybe it's to develop analytical skills. Maybe you need to take a look at the KPIs of your business. It's been a while since you did that. Maybe you're a small business owner. Some of us might need to sharpen our skill on customer service. What does it look like in your role? Ginger Bell, part of this group, does a great job in the industry of teaching people how to do videos. It's uncomfortable for most of us, but that's a skill that is evolving in this industry that we need to do. So take 20 minutes to sharpen your skills, and hopefully some of those ideas are helpful. Number 5, we need to take time to reflect on the day's successes. If we can't get to the end of the day and think of one way that we were successful that day, man, what a bummer. But if we take the time to reflect on the day's successes, maybe it's 2 things, maybe it's 5 things. Maybe it's like Admiral McCraven said, make your bed every day, right? That's a success. We have a lot of successes that tend to go unnoticed throughout the day. And if we take the time to reflect on the day's successes, it helps build momentum for the following day. The next one, ladies, I will tell you, we're terrible at. I'm going to encourage you to find a way to practice self-care. It helps manage stress. It helps manage the stress of our business. You know, it helps us find the balance that allows us to be truly who we are. I'll also say that practicing self-care can look like loving your body enough to take care of it. Maybe it's just simply taking a walk in the afternoon after these crazy days. Maybe self-care for you means limiting your time with negative people. Some of my team is on this call. I call those energy vampires, right? We cannot have a lot of energy vampires running around all day influencing us. Otherwise, it does affect our mindset. And we talked about why it's important to reestablish our mindset. Maybe self-care looks like just stopping to appreciate what you do have. We all have so much. All right, and then the 7th daily discipline that I want to encourage you to is really have time where you turn off notifications on your phone. This is something that we all know logically we should be doing. Notifications are distracting. Turning off notifications helps promote good sleep. It allows our brain to make the connection to slow down. Turning off notification also allows us to be present with our family or our friends. You know, there's a Cleveland Clinic article out there on why we should limit notifications or turn off notifications. I encourage you to take a look at it. I did not link it to the presentation, but I do think it's worthwhile. Do that. You know, with growth comes the ability to enjoy life in a deeper and more meaningful way. And so, you know, what I would say to you is, as we're thinking about why discipline matters, we talked about why discipline matters. We've talked about some ideas to incorporate daily disciplines into our business lives that are already hectic. If you found ideas on, maybe you found ways to be helpful in creating discipline, I welcome learning from you. And so what I would say is, you know, let's connect. I've put on the screen, and we'll certainly circulate the deck if you'd like to have it, my email address, my phone number, my LinkedIn, if we're not already connected on LinkedIn. But I hope that this has been powerful enough to get you to think about what are those areas of my life and my business that I could change my mindset, be more organized, be willing to say yes and no to certain things, be willing to change my mind. What does that discipline look like? What are those areas that you need to create success in, and what disciplines, what are the steps, the baby steps that will help you get there? So with that, Laura, Brandy, I'll turn it back over to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kristy. That was fabulous. And you know, I have one question that I would certainly like to ask. And this is something that all of us in the mortgage industry at this moment in time, I think can relate to. So a lot of times, you know, when use the marathon example, okay? So you decided this is something that was a goal of yours you wanted to do. Now let's equate that to the mortgage industry. Mortgage industry starts to go into a cycle that's a little more challenging, right? We come out of 21, we're going to 22, and things are changing, right? So at first, everybody is like, I got this. I can get through this cycle. I'm feeling amazing. I'm here. But then the longer things go on, just like the marathon, the longer you're expected to add another mile, that's where the true test of discipline comes in. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on, okay, here we are equating it. We're all in the mortgage industry. How do you get through that discipline when you're not clearly seeing the vision at the end as you're trying to work through your day-to-day?
Yeah, or the results that we all think we should be seeing or experiencing because we have years in the industry, or we do feel like we've done the road work, to use Sugar Ray Leonard's term, right? That's a great question, Laura. I think so much of it comes down to controlling our mindset, right? We all have to believe, we have to go back and take a step back and reflect and say, you know, as I said earlier, I know what to do here. I know what I need to do to create success in the business. I know what has led to success in this business absent 2020 and 2021, right? Because anybody probably could have been successful in this business during those times. But if we go back and reflect on what is it, I know what to do. I know how to do it. I feel capable of doing it, right? And I expect good results. But we also have to be willing to do the things that lead to that success. So to go back to the marathon, there's no way for me to go run another, and since that time, let me just say, I was one and done on the full marathon. My body is not built to run long distances. I've done a dozen half marathons. And even though mentally I know that I can do it, I could not go run a half marathon this afternoon because I've not currently engaged in actively pursuing the discipline associated with doing the road work. So just because you know that you have success, that does build some mental, and it builds confidence, right? We talked a lot about confidence, and it helps us develop that attitude. But we have to be honest with ourselves and say, am I currently doing the road work necessary to create success and to pivot my business in the way needed to meet the business where it is today, not where it was 6 months ago, a year ago? We hope to never be where it was 6 months ago, right? All of us would probably take where we were this time last year, but we also have to wrap our brains around, hey, it's never going to look like it did in 2020 and 2021. It's unlikely it will in our lifetime, and we have to be willing to accept that as well.
Agreed. Well, that was fantastic, Kristy. Thank you so much. And yes, Linda put in the notes that please, this is going up on the website. So if anyone would like to review it, share it with your friends, have other people take a look at it, we absolutely encourage you to do so. And next month, Linda may be spotlighting herself and sharing her story of taking it to the top. So let's see if everyone please join us on July 11th for our next session. And Kristy, thank you so much. And ladies, thank you so much for joining us today. You are all amazing. Thank you for, as Kristy said, you showed up. That's the first step. So thank you for that commitment. We appreciate all of you and wishing you a fabulous day.